Okay, so I will be sitting then, okay, because this presentation I just did on my way here to Finland. I was 3.5 hours in the train and I did it. The subject I'm going to talk is, critically important. And this is the reason why I'd like to bring it in the way understandable for you. I'd like to share it for you. Today I'd like to pour some light on the actual presence and active influence of ETs and UFO on our life. Because during the period of ufology, a lot of different hypotheses have been given, hundreds, thousands of them. So, in any way, all these hypotheses in history shows that mostly they are too far from reality. And today, I'd like to give you some hints, some essences. What actually stands behind UFO and their activity on our planet? And I would like to start with this video. Do you see it? I think we should put the light out for better view. Can we switch off the light? Do you see video? This is the huge pyramid-shaped UFO which was hovering over Kremlin on September 2009. It was hovering for 4 hours at night. And then, during the year 2010, this UFO was witnessed over many other countries. This pyramid-shaped UFO is a huge one, like at least 300 meters one side. Some other investigators says, well, it's much bigger, but it doesn't matter. The question is, what actually happened there over, well, let's say over Kremlin and over China? I don't know what happened there, but I know that Russian politics, let's say tragically, was changed right after this event. And if you remember that China actually did the same way. So, trying to see and understand what stands behind this event, I was working with all possible data which I could access with the help of militaries, National Security Academy, ancient texts, and I found that there was a similar event that took place 14,000 of years ago over Sinai, here. In ancient Sumerian texts, I can find the mentioning that a huge pyramid-shaped UFO was hovering over Sinai, and it was contact with a man who later played unusual, critical role in the history of our planet. Because at that time, the destiny of the planet Earth in the whole was under big question mark. To explain to you what actually happened, I'd like to start from the beginning, and pretty shortly. Actually, all this history started approximately 18,000 of years ago. And all ancient texts, all ancient texts say that that was the time when extraterrestrials or gods visited the planet Earth. But what is important, that gods, they were not for far situated systems of our galaxy. They have been from Mars, which ancient Sumerian texts called Nibiru, and they were from Maldek, which later have been destroyed, and we have got asteroid belt left. So we have been influenced by civilization from the Mars. And here, just short description in ancient texts. This is very well known pyramid complex of Teotihuacan. This is the pyramid of Kukulkan, pyramid of the sun, and the pyramid of the moon, as ancient text says. But if we look on this complex from 5 kilometers above, and then we put a celestial map over the complex, you made a wonderful discovery. That this system exactly correlates with the orbits of our solar system. Sun is in the middle. The pyramid of the moon actually occupies the orbit of the Earth. And the pyramid of Kukulkan is the pyramid of the Mars. Then another very interesting detail. To point out the fact that pyramids of the complex are modeling Mars and Earth, the height of the pyramid of the Earth, which is 42 meters high, oops, yeah. And the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, the Mars, 22 meters high, were tied together by special ratio 1:2:0:5:3:2, which corresponds exactly to the ratio of the equatorial diameter of both planets. So, important is that according to ancient texts, 18,000 years ago, Martian civilization started to investigate solar system. And 18,000 years ago, Martian landed on Earth in the territory of Hyperborea. Actually, Hyperborea, here you can see, this is Greenland, okay? This is Scotland, Finland, Kola, in this area. This is all that was the territory of Hyperborea. The Martians were very much interested in uranium ore. And here you can see the photos of the ancient mines found on Kola Peninsula, between lakes Lavozera and Ozera. This is a huge territory. These two territories, sorry, where Martians mined uranium ore. And even now, you can see almost 20 huge circuits, where huge technological circuits, where the soil with uranium ore have been taken away. And looking here, you can see that this is the technical, it's not natural. Milliards and milliards and milliards of soil. And no traces around. And according to the ancient texts, says that this material have been taken, replaced to another planet, right from here. Because uranium ore have been used as the, let's say, a fuel for their propulsion system, for their spacecrafts. So, important is that right after that, approximately 18,000 of years ago, Martian and Maldek civilization started to expand the sphere of these interests. I'd like to point out that Martian civilization have been very, very much developed. They have been so developed that most part of present scientists will not be able to accept it. But later you will see some proofs of this. So when Martians and Maldek civilization started to develop their interest, their sphere, it was the beginning of the War of the Gods, so-called War of the Gods, mentioned in all ancient texts. And interesting is that Martian civilization have been so successful that in our historic memory, Mars stayed as the god of the war. So Martian and Maldek civilization badly influenced a lot of civilization in our galaxy and our segment of the galaxy. And at a certain moment, situation was so critical that all civilization of our galaxy stood against the Martian civilization. And at the end of this 6,000-year War of the Gods, very unusual event took place. So if you look on our solar system, it moves this way, in spiral. We now here, and we moved through the plane of the galaxy in spiral like this. And each time, one time in 33 million years, when again solar system moves through the plane of the galaxy, we fly through the asteroid belts. So it's like a stream of asteroids. And for example, 64,000 million years ago, these asteroids killed all living creatures on the planet Earth. And it was many times like this. Martian civilization was so developed that looking through time, they know that such a periods are taking place periodically. And they created on the planet of our solar system so-called, we call it installation, it's an anti-asteroid and anti-meteorite defense system. So the system actually also situated on the planet Earth. And this is very interesting. It's not a drawing. thousands and thousands of years ago, somebody gave an advice to people living on planet Earth to create a certain energetical system on the surface. And this is the concentration system. We concentrate energy in a certain points and then send this energy to this installation system, which gathers the energy to fight against the meteorites and asteroids. This is Australia. This is the Russian generating system. This is Northern Africa. Because when the system is working like this all together, it's a very special, unusual way to concentrate the energy, because the installation which shuts down meteorites and asteroids uses the natural energy of the Earth. So this is another system. So idea was that approximately 14,000 years ago, at the end of the War of the Gods, when solar system again moved through the plane of the galaxy, outer space civilization who were fighting with Mars, they switched off the system of defense. And huge planetoid and asteroids entered the solar system and started to destroy the planets. The first planet which have been destroyed like one hint, it was the Baltic. And huge pieces of Baltic attacked Martian civilization. And that was the moment which is described in all ancient texts as the moment of a chaos. Because when planets have been destroyed, the whole system went out of the balance. This was the particular moment when somebody who stayed alive on Mars, Baltic, and planet Earth, they rushed from their planets to the planet behind the sun. It's a very interesting moment, because in our solar system we have a planet inhabited by our predecessors. This is the Valley of the Death. This is the book of, so-called the Book of Death. Look here. I will increase this. Can you imagine what kind of ideas have been exposed by historian people? Believe me, that was something very stupid. But this says clearly, yellow figure means sun. This is the sun. This means giving life. And now look, there is an orbit, goes through the third chakra. Third orbit, this is the orbit of the planet Earth. This drawing says that around the sun, on the orbit number 3, there are 2 planets. Sun is looking on the Earth. at the same moment, there is another planet behind, which is bigger than the planet Earth. When present, spacecrafts fly from the Earth, they cannot see this planet because this area behind the Sun is 600 diameters of the Earth. If we want to see this planet, we need to move 15,000 times further than the Moon, and we should tune our equipment to watch on the planet behind the Sun. And now a little bit scientific information. Early hours on 25th January 1672, Jean-Dominique Cassini, director of the Paris Observatory, discovered close to Venus unknown crescent-shaped body. So he was the first who scientifically registered and made the recordings of existence of the planet in our solar system. Then, 1740s, shortly before sunrise, James Short. And then, 20th of May, 1759, by Mayer from Germany. Another case, actually, let's say shortly, for 70 years, a lot of astronomers were watching this planet and made special recordings. So scientifically, we know that it exists. So important is that those who lived on Mars, on Baltic, ran on the planet behind the Sun. And now this is the moment. Now listen to me very, very much attentively. This pyramid-shaped object appeared over Sinai 14,000 years ago. And he invited on board a person very well known in history. His name was Gilgamesh. To know about Gilgamesh, we need to read ancient Sumerian texts, so-called Gilgamesh Epos, which contains the description of the big flute. You can find it in British Museum. To put it in order, I need to make it clear that we are talking about two persons, two Gilgameshes, because one of the Gilgamesh, which actually well known, was living 4,700 years ago. But his name was Bilgamesh, which in translation means it means forefather of the hero. It means that he had the name of the person who lived almost 14,000 years before. According to ancient Sumerian texts, they speak openly that the gods had a sexual relationships with the earthly maidens at that time. And they had the kids with unusual genetic abilities. Ancient texts call these people half-gods. And Gilgamesh was one of them. His father was from Mars, but mother from the planet Earth. He was very special, very well-known person on planet Earth. That's why he was invited for that very fateful meeting. Because when war was completed and civilizations who won the war came to our solar system, they saw the planet Earth. And on the planet Earth, there are few centers of civilization. And these people on Earth, they are so clever. They have wonderful abilities. But one problem. They are kids of Martian civilization. It means they copy, they develop the same way as the Martian civilization thousands of years ago. So, what to do? If we will live like this, I'm talking now like a representative of outer space civilization, okay? I say, if we live like this, very much possible that in few hundred years it will be another very powerful Martian civilization. And then we have a technique, we have a possibility to look through time. And you see, these people, very talented people on Earth, any scientific achievement immediately is used for military purposes. So, members of the meeting, what to do with the Earth? Should we leave it like this? And approximately 99% we will be in a big shit. Or we will sterilize the planet. And then that's okay. No problem. So, there were three main ideas. First, sterilize the planet. Second, do nothing, just watch. Or third, watch and control. Watch and influence. And this is very interesting piece of text from Gilgamesh Epos. Because when Gilgamesh was invited for the meeting, we have asked him, listen, what to do with the planet Earth? Because this text contains ideas about ethics, peace, and destiny of man searching for immortality. So, on this meeting, they discussed all unethical behavior of people on Earth, Martian civilization and Baltic civilization. So, I don't know, I didn't find any explanation or any words about the texts or speech which Gilgamesh gave them. But Gilgamesh, persuaded not to sterilize the planet, not to do this. And then outer space, let's say, council, they said, okay, we will not sterilize the planet Earth, but you must go back to planet Earth, meet and talk to all your brothers, the kings of the planet Earth, and persuade them to change the way of thinking. Shortly, I'd like to give you a very short, very, let's say, like, they said, you must change your guts. You must, let's say, rethink, change your, your ideas about karma, about relationships with human beings. You should change it. You must persuade people to accept new teachers and new ideology. And here's the moment. Oh, you see? 10 minutes. No. He was not lucky. Now, key moment. Gilgamesh was not lucky. And 13,668 years ago, a huge asteroid hit the planet. It's one of the very interesting papyrus called Pindarpian, where we can find the texts where the king Exanti, the ruler, when he was invited to be a king in Kea Island, it's the Mediterranean, he said, I'm afraid of Zeus the warrior. I'm afraid of earthquaking gods, whose blow is blooming by lightning and the trident. The earth and the people were demolished into Tartarus' bowel. So it was terrible, terrible asteroid impact. When it happened, according to Diogenes Laertus, Egyptian priests had recordings 373 solar and 832 lunar eclipses. And this calculation shows that they were watching the sky for at least 10,000 years. And you remember that ancients were perfect astronomers. Ancient Egyptian calendar cycle 1460 years. One such cycle ended here. If we calculate 7 cycles back, remember this date, 11,542. Another, ancient Assyrian calendar, the same date. So if you take Indian calendar, 100 years difference, but the same date. Mayan civilization, again the same date. This 100 years was the date first asteroid impact, and in 100 years all these disturbances have been slowed down. So, from here, from exact mathematical calculations, we have an information that 13,668 years ago, we have survived a huge asteroid impact. This is Egyptian so-called Dendera zodiac, which gives also exact idea and calculations, the date when it happened and what was the result of this asteroid impact. I'm just running shortly because we have no time, as usually. So, this asteroid impact caused dismiss of axis of rotation, first 20 degrees south and 10 degrees west. And then 5 degrees like relaxation, 15 degrees left. Easy to calculate. The road of so-called death of Teotihuacan. This is the direction of present northern pole, and this is the earliest previous northern pole direction. Because ancient text says that Martian civilization landed, if you prolong this line to the north. Okay, so wait a second, different way. This is another Chinese pyramids, the same thing. Present direction to the modern pole and ancient pole. All the pyramids were oriented on the present northern pole, because it's important, key important, that pyramids must be oriented on the northern pole. So if we prolong the line perpendicular, we come to the former northern pole. This is the present northern pole. This is the former northern pole. It was in Greenland. The same manipulation we can see with Kailash mountain. This is the direction to the northern pole, but the plane, the same 15 degrees. So here, shortly, you can see, this is the place of the former northern pole. So, as the result of asteroid impact, planet Earth changed the axis of rotation. According to ancient texts, trajectory of the asteroid flight was against, opposite to the rotation of the Earth. So when asteroid hit the planet, the rotation of the planet became a little bit slower, like and water moves, the way of water moves there. Huge flood. Oh, 2 minutes. Something, the most interesting thing. So you have persuade him.
Last 10 minutes.
This is the place where asteroids just hit the planet. This is so-called acupuncture point. If you hit here, you get terrible results. According to all general Earth, these breakings, all volcanoes at one moment started their, how to say, explosion, eruptions, right, eruptions. Especially eruptions in the ocean, and all ancient texts says about huge steam beams, beaming in the skies like 40, 50, 60, 100 kilometers, like an explosion. It was a terrible moment. This is the places of eruptions. And now starts the most interesting thing. The installation which actually shuts down meteorites and asteroids was also taking place in this event. the first attempt to change the trajectory of the flight of the asteroid was done over Alaska. But asteroid, it was planetoid, it was too big. It just changed a little bit and trajectory and moved over Russia. Here is the second explosion. Second attempt to shut it down. And then it flew over the northern part of Europe, and then here, Azores Island, the planetoid dived into the ocean. And here, the pictures. This is the way how this installation was trying to explode, to destroy the asteroid. You can't imagine how powerful was this explosion. It was 1,000,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 1,000,000 times. And the pieces of asteroids flew another few thousand kilometers. And, you know, Saaremaa, these huge asteroid craters on Saaremaa, it's the traces of that event. Then the last explosion over Azores. It was so strong that huge pieces they flew further and fell down on America, in Brazil, in Mexico. Thousands of people have been killed. And here, interesting. So, American Academy of Science, they found a lot of this small melted matter of asteroid over the huge territory, more than 50 million square kilometers. And what is interesting, you see, it exactly shows the trajectory of the flight. First explosion here, and we see the debris all over this territory. But the most terrible was that when this explosion, first one, second one, and third one happened, a lot of oxygen have been burned out. And cold air fall down from the atmosphere to the Earth, minus 70 in 1 second. Minus 70. This huge asteroid, you know, explosion, electromagnetic, you know, discharge, made a hole in the energetical membrane between our dimension and parallel dimension. And here is the ancient text from the Bible, because in the parallel dimension there is the ocean. Can you imagine? And when you open the membrane between the ocean, what happens? Water goes here. And ancient text says enormous amount of water appeared just for one night. There was no water, and now we have, you know, the sea level rose 180 meters. This is interesting because here, this is the areas which were over the water before. This is the areas of the former ocean. You see, that was the land. But now, it is sea. Here, the depth, 300 meters, 1 kilometer. Can you imagine how many waters have been brought here? And this caused enormous, terrible change of climate. And the other very terrible, you know, event, it was that planet Earth lost its orbit. Former calendar, 360 days. Now we have 365. So planet started to fly away from the sun, 5 days more. of the flight. We are flying 30 kilometers per second. Now calculate how far we flew away from the sun. And this is the reason why climate became very cold. No discussion. And here is the moment, as ancient text says, the moon was given to the earth. Moon was given. Right after this, somebody moved the moon, increased the mass of the earth, and earth have been stabilized here where we are now. So, what I'd like to tell you, like this, coming to the most interesting moment, now we're coming fast, that the event that took place 14,000 years ago is exactly the same which happened over Moscow 2009. It means that if nothing will be changed politically, ethically, we are ahead of the following asteroid impact. And I can tell you exactly it will happen between 120, 150 years. So, what we can do. Now, this is the short period of time whether we change, like Gilgamesh, we will be lucky to arrange with America this stuff, or we will be in a big shit. There is no another word about it. So, I was thinking what to do, what actually we can do about it. And again, we are coming to this event. So, if you remember, I already showed that those who lived on Mars and Baltic, and some people who at the same time have been on Earth, they rushed to the planet behind the Sun. Important is that, according to the science, there are so-called it's like liberational points. Sun, planet Earth. In this rotation system, we have so-called liberation point. What it means? If you put a mass in this liberation point, like you take anything and give a slight, push, this body will be flying together with planet Earth forever. It's so-called triangular stable position. Stable. But there are another so-called collinear, unstable, which one is behind the Earth, one is here before the Earth, and the third one is behind the Sun on our orbit, exactly where the planet behind the Sun is situated. What it means? It means that if following asteroid hits the planet Earth, planet behind the Sun is losing its orbit. It's impossible. That's why they are building thousands of years ago the system for now sound. Do you know this is the case? Yeah. You know this case? Chelyabinsk asteroid. The sound would be good here at the moment. You see? The object destroyed asteroid. It's appeared here. You see? Yeah. Oh. Ah. No, this was here. Yeah, it was here. So, you see the object destroying. Again. So this installation is working now, destroying meteorites and asteroids. And on 15th of February 2013, we have been watching how it works. So interesting is that just the day before, a lot of people made some videos how this installation was preparing to shoot. You see, these objects are flying. They are flying, appear at one place, then move and disappear in the one. This is so-called terminators. This is the huge balls, metallic balls, empty inside, approximately 60 meters in diameter. Concluding, wait a second. So you see, so when the asteroid was flying, first terminator appeared above here. The second one appeared here. Come on. And you see, it's an interesting photo. Trajectory of asteroid. And you see the smoking trace. Interception. It was so quick that Terminator just and destroyed. Another view, another direction of destruction of asteroid. And unfortunately, we just had a sound because here I showed you the system, how Tunguska meteorite was destroyed. First explosion, 6-7 kilometers, second one, and third one. Exactly the same thing happened during the Chelyabinsk case. But interesting is that exactly at the moment of explosion, very close to explosion, there was the civil aircraft. This explosion was 30 times stronger than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Can you imagine the power? And the pilot says they felt nothing. Just they were flying as if nothing happened. How it's possible? Only in case the whole, situation have been under somebody's control. Oh my gosh. So, unfortunately, this is just the half of the video, because there I have a video how this installation is working and shooting down meteorites and asteroids live. It's interesting is that this films was done by Academy of Science of Japan. Perfect. The main idea is that you see, ETs are somehow influencing political situation. Right after 2009, the politics of China and Russia changed completely against America. And now, I don't know what happened there, but I know one thing. This is the line, this is the moment of truth. If we will not be lucky together, we are one blood, my friends. Whether we will be lucky and our kids stay alive, or in 220, forget another asteroid impact. I have no time to show you the result of this impact, but that was terrible. I don't want it anymore. So this is the main, main message which I would like to give to you, actually on the basis of ancient texts. Next time, when I have 4 hours to talk, I'll give you a lot of interesting information in connection with this.
Valery.
And another thing, actually, which I'd like to give you very, very shortly. It's important to know that we understand that we must create, we must bring to life the kids of quite new abilities. And this is the reason why we started to build pyramid complexes in Russia. Main idea, to stimulate creative abilities of students and kids. The first complex which we started to build is near Tomsk. This is the city of the pyramids, which will contain 33 huge pyramids. You see how many videos you missed. because of this man. Don't kill him. He's nice. Yes, you see, this is the place where we have started to build the pyramids. This is the first one. This is the main idea of the complex. And around it will be the huge, huge complex of the cities, you know, the kindergartens, schools, whatever. Everything will be there. So, I'm sorry, really sorry that I have very short time, but I thank you very much that you have found a lot of, you know, power to listen to me running, you know,
Valery,
along the Europe.
Discussion is going on. We started this 20 years ago, and one question. You told your group visited Irkutsk, and you thought that you found some Terminator installations
Yes.
there. What is this moment? Have you got more information?
I think the main idea is that in the nearest future we will invite a group of scientists from Finland, forever, and we start to investigate this debris only together, because the debris, this is the science of the 25th century. And we have no right in Russia to do it alone. We don't want to have it in secret. We want to make it open. Because China already 10 years investigating it in secret. But you know, we are in Russia, we know exactly that what they did, what they found, and what they are investigating. From our side, we want to make it open, no secrecy, because it will influence our future. So.